The Zambezi River is found in southern Africa. It is one of the longest rivers in Africa. It is the cradle of life and civilization, and is the river that brings to life the Victoria Falls. However, not all is well with this magnificent natural feature, as there are plans to build a dam in the Batoka Gorge. To learn more about what the consequences of such construction will be, we talked to some defenders of nature against ecocides.
Good afternoon, fellow environmentalists and mindset changers. We are at the Victoria Falls Bridge, and we are talking to Mr. Hilani Moyo from Zimbabwe. Welcome to the interview, Mr. Moyo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chimot.
So maybe you could just give us a background to what you do.
Okay, thank you. I do what is called whitewater rafting on the Zambezi River. So I'm actually into tourism industry. I've been doing it since 1995, so I can say it's been 26 years of this kind of job that I've been doing.
Okay. So knowing your experience working in that industry, you're closely tied to the Zambezi. Maybe you could just explain what the significance of the Zambezi River is to the tourism sector.
Okay. Yes, as I said, this is what I do, and that's what I've been doing from the childhood. And coming from Victoria Falls and rafting on the Zambezi River, it's something really I admire a lot. I have traveled around the world, being trained here on this river, which is rated #1 river for rafting in the whole world.
It is?
Yes, it's rated #1. There is no any other river in this world that can beat the mighty Zambezi. I've done more than 35 rivers around the world, in Italy, in Austria, Switzerland, and for the past 15 years, I've been working in America and Colorado. So this river is the best river for rafting. We have done some world rafting championships here on the Zambezi River, and we're hoping to bring it back. And we have done so many competitions, inviting people from all over the world. Almost every tourist is dying to come and raft in this river.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, there is a planned dam just down the river in the Batoka Gorge. What is your opinion about the dam being placed on the Zambezi River?
Okay, yes, I've heard about it, and I've been in a couple of meetings about the dam. We have brought some suggestions on how can they go about, Yes, we are objecting it, but in a way of saying, how about if we consider things like solar panels, rather than destroying this beautiful Batoka Gorge that we have? Because once this is being built, because they're proposing something like 180 meters wall, so that means it will block the entire Zambezi River, and animals are going to be affected. We have baboons that they live inside the canyon. We have got fish, we've got some hippos, we've got crocodiles. And again, if you look at this canyon, which is really, really stunning canyon, not many rivers around the world, they have this beautiful canyon. You go to raft in Europe, you'll be just rafting in small rivers where there are some houses and cars are driving past by. But here you are just at the middle of nowhere. So I would suggest, to the people who are building the dam and say, how about if we consider the solar panels with less impact when it comes to environment, and with my experience, for example, in Colorado, they've already started destroying some hydroelectric power plants because it has really affected the rivers a lot. So we are not really objecting it, but we are coming with some suggestions rather than just to kill this industry. And the other thing about the dam is being built like 60 kilometers downstream. And they say to us in one of the meetings, the flow, it will come all the way up to rapid number 5. And rapid number 5, we're talking of about a kilometer below the main Victoria Falls. So we were like, really, what's the valid reason can you give us, about this flow not coming all the way to the Victoria Falls?
Yeah.
If it came almost 60 kilometers downstream and only less than a kilometer to the falls, to me, I feel like it might even affect the Victoria Falls.
Yeah.
Yes.
The risk is too huge,
The
right?
risk is really too high. Yeah.
So, what do you think the way forward should be? Because this is a shared project between Zambia and Zimbabwe. What's the way forward?
Well, I think if maybe both government can meet and consult again the locals. I'm talking on behalf of being a local guy, born and bred here in Victoria Falls, which is just opposite our Chief Mukuni, but on the Zimbabwean side.
Okay.
We haven't really been consulted much about this thing. So if we can be consulted, we have massive land and utilized land that the government can just choose. We're talking of maybe less than a kilometer land to just clear that land and we plant some solar panels. And I don't think it will have any big impact on the environment. But with this, really it's going to be so sad. As I said, we have hosted the World Rafting Championships, some World Kayaking Championships here. And almost every tourist who come to Victoria Falls, they want to do the whitewater rafting, being rated as the best river rafting in the whole world. So everyone is dying to come and raft. And once this is being built, there'll be no more tourism and no more rafting business. And the locals, they'll lose their jobs. Like in the village, we have more than 50 people that are being employed. So it's gonna really affect us a lot.
Mr. Moyo, thank you so much for sharing your perspectives on the issue. We thank you for taking time to chat with us.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we were just talking about the significance of the Zambezi River and also the possible dangers of having a dam placed in the Batoka Gorge. Like you heard, the Zambezi River is rated number 1 in terms of river rafting in the world. It's clearly a huge source of tourism for Zambia. Do we want to lose that because we need a dam? Remember, we already have 2 other dams on the Zambezi. The Kariba Dam in Zambia and the Kawarabasa Dam in Mozambique. Do we surely need a 3rd dam? Is it necessary for us? Or as Mr. Moyo says, we could look at alternative energy sources such as solar energy. Yes, even solar energy is not 100% clean, but at least it gives us the opportunity to generate power whilst preserving this natural heritage. Remember, the Zambezi River and the Victoria Falls are part of our culture. When we preserve these resources, we're also preserving our culture. Some of the oldest civilizations in the world are in Africa, along the Nile River and also along the Zambezi. So we have a responsibility to preserve these resources for our own good. Thank you so much for listening to us and keep following us as we talk to various stakeholders. Have a good day.
Thank you.
So the reasons why it's not good to build a dam at Batoka is we've got so much at stake. We might have short-term gains, but long-term, we've got so much more to lose. I don't see it personally as a sustainable development agenda project. I see it as the complete opposite. There might be a few companies that do benefit who are already wealthy, but the impact on the voiceless, the environment, and traditional people in villages and unborn, the future, it's not a wise move.
Like if we could just visualize Zambia and Zimbabwe without the Zambezi River,
It's
what
al-
will it be like?
it's almost like asking, what would a human being like without its main artery to the heart? It would be dead. We would be dead. It gives the Zambezi, brings life, is life, water is life. It gives so much life to so many communities, the wilderness, the amazing animals that we have that so many people save up for so many years to come and enjoy just sightseeing. We have all that at stake because this is a World Heritage Site which needs to be protected and conserved for future generations. Life would be pretty bleak without the Zambezi River. That's my opinion. But then again, Bantu people are so innovative, they'd probably come up with something. But the way things are right now, without access to the Zambezi River, and a lot of local villages and animals would be lost, lose their livelihoods. It's like this time, a majority of the animals in all directions, this is the time. You know, if you had to go on a helicopter, you'd see them all converging. But then also the people are benefiting in so many ways. As much as I don't promote things like fishing or whatever, but that is the livelihood of the Tonga people, for example. For millenniums, they've lived on the riverbanks, and we all know like the River Nile has given birth to so many civilizations.
Yeah.
And it's the same with on this part. This is like our River Nile, really, this part of, you know, the motherland, the Zambezi. So without this waterway, it would be probably a deserty kind of land, because this is what's happening. As much as we have the Zambezi now, little deserts are creeping in because of, number one, deforestation, pollution. There's so much that the environment is being impacted from different angles. So, like just here at the falls, there's like little deserts everywhere popping up, and people complain about the heat, but at the same time, they're chopping all the trees down, and they don't realize that there's a connection.
Yeah.
The environment and people are so interrelated that if the river is impacted, it directly impacts human beings' livelihoods and the animals as well, which bring in, I don't want to see it only from a monetary perspective, that the animals bring in so much tourists. So tourism brings in much needed economic development, the money, the cash. So a lot of small business people as well, besides villagers, are going to be impacted because they also depend on the river for all their different activities on the riverside, although a lot of them are also kind of bourgeois activities which also don't benefit local people. Like, for example, whitewater rafting. It's only very exclusive. You've got to be really wealthy to be able to participate in such an activity. And this I have a problem with. So I hope that this documentary will raise awareness and raise questions as well, and also stimulate enterprises, businesses to now think from a sustainable perspective that yes, you can do your business, but at the same time, consider the environmental impact, social responsibility, environmental responsibility. So, like, for example, the whitewater rafting companies and national parks and all of them, it'd be nice if they could work somehow, working to save our rivers, our wildlife, the forest, by working with the villagers themselves who have so much indigenous knowledge. Really, like, for example, where I live over that side, there's poaching going on. But we have anti-poaching squad one was killed last week by an elephant. And strangely enough, I saw this gentleman a month ago. How did I see him? I happened to wander off and I must have startled a number of people, including national parks and one of them came to me and we spoke because they know I'm always in the forest. But in retrospect, I think what happened, I disturbed them because the elephant does not kill somebody who's protecting him. It just doesn't add up. How would elephant kill an anti-poacher unless the anti-poacher was doing something, because the elephant knows and remembers? Because, so to be nice for accountability, responsibility, where we, environmentalists, civil society, actually work with all these bodies, governmental NGOs, for the betterment of our environment, because it doesn't belong to particular people who can afford, like now, this whole false place. There's a company who's offered our council to buy the whole place. There should be laws, policies that somehow protect the environment for future generations to come.
Sure.
They shouldn't be just where entrepreneurs, come and say, well, I want this national park, this river is mine, this section, because apparently that's what's happening there. But then again, somebody raised a question the other day, which I thought was quite interesting. They said, but Kia, if wealthy people don't buy like the embankment there, if it's left for future generation in national hands, then you can see what's going on. There's there's deforestation. So now, whereas if it's an entrepreneur, because unfortunately, whether we like it or not, we've been disconnected as African people from our environment. We don't really care. I witness all the time, ladies and gentlemen, while I'm taking my meditation walk around that side in the bush, with logs coming out from, the forest. The national parks will drive out, council police, and I'm like, but how come they're all missing each other? I'm seeing everybody. So it's organized crime again. So I think even with the river, the only way forward really is that, as much as I don't believe in us policing each other, but for now, in order to protect our natural heritage, our rivers, perhaps that's the only way forward. That we work with, for example, these, the Wild Horizons, national parks, environmentalists, and key, not only the stakeholders, but people, the policymakers as well. Because the way it's going, I think in 100 years' time, we won't even have a lot of all this. This will be gone.